here's my segue to from David Lynch to Blake Lively. You ready? um, Blake Lively's older sister Robin was a main character, a side character in Twin Peaks, directed by David Lynch, which I did not know. A major seductress with sort of maybe evil powers, perhaps even foreshadowing her younger sister's real life situation, where we find ourselves today. So
she might be the better actress too.
Thank you. She probably definitely was a better actress. So I don't know anything about Blake Lively, other than that. So first, before we go there, what is the dragon situation? Does she really believe in dragons? Tell me.
Oh God. Tell me. We have a lot to catch up on here.
No, I don't know that she actually I hate to burst your bubble. I don't know that she actually believes in dragons or fake clouds, but she did low-key threaten the director of her film, Justin Baldoni, with whom she's now embroiled in this whole mess, right? She did low-key threaten him by likening Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds to her dragons and flat out saying, I am the Khaleesi, and telling him that she can direct her dragons for a person's good or for their harm, basically, depending. And I mean, that's basically it. So low-key threat.
Is she saying that they hired killers? Like she can sick them on people? That's kind of crazy. This is crazy. Okay. Yeah. So let's...
No, that just she has power.
She has about power. Real power.
Yeah.
To fight with dragons.
Yeah.
So
what brought this on, and then I can tell you the whole story, but what brought this on is that Baldoni was summoned to a seemingly professional meeting at Blake and Ryan's penthouse, where he was more or less, again, low-key ambushed by Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, who were trying to persuade him to go with Blake and Ryan's vision for the film and not his own as director. And so then what was going on then is, in a subsequent conversation, he's saying to Blake, hey, I actually like your ideas. You don't have to put your friends on me like that, so to speak. And then that was her response, that I'm Khaleesi and they're my dragons and you better get on the right side.
Wow. So she sounds really nice. So that's cool. So how did this whole thing start? Because I saw this thing bubbling up and I'm like, I don't care at all about this. I did see the dragons thing, and I did listen to the voice message that he sent, which to me sounded actually quite real. Although the quality of it was suspicious to me. I'm like, this must be done in the studio, and this is PR for their whole movie. It must be, but perhaps not.
People are saying it could be, but I don't think anyone actually believes that they would go through all this now for that. But that's what I was saying at the beginning too, is, man, this would be like a brilliant, this is back months ago when people were just gossiping about tension on the set. And I said, this is like a brilliant PR move for a mediocre movie. I mean, no offense to Justin and Blake, but it's a mediocre movie. And maybe it turned out that way because they were fighting on set so much.
Right. Or maybe they had budget left over to create this smear campaign to promote it. So how does this thing start? Like what the heck are these people? I've never really heard of them outside of this, and I'm curious,
start from the beginning.
Yeah, what starts this? And because it seems like what we're trapped in now is another one of these giant Depp Manson revolving door of trauma and victimhood.
Yeah, that sounds about on the nose, honestly. Okay. But I'll give you the really short Cliff's notes.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who've speculated on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' motives in what I'm about to tell you they apparently did, but it's everything from jealousy to marital issues to they were trying to basically steal the rights to this book series so they could make more movies, et cetera, et cetera. But long and short of it is, Blake and Ryan, at a certain point in the film, basically tried to take over or did take over the making of the movie and basically authoritative, decisions, and basically usurped the roles of all kinds of people, from editors to costume designers to composers. Might even gotten a composer fired via Taylor Swift. And that's one of the ways that she's involved in here, perhaps. But anyway, they take over this film in various ways, and Blake basically causes the entire thing to be torturous for those involved. And when the film was finally over, after the director, Justin Baldoni, and his production company, by the way, owned by Steve Sarowitz, mega billionaire. We'll get to that in a little while. But Wayfarer Studios, production company, one that Baldoni worked for and that was putting on this film, producing this film. Well, anyway, so the film is completed, and it's very difficult for everyone involved, again, because of what Blake has been doing with Ryan in the background. But the film is completed, and then Blake basically demands that Baldoni be separated from her at the premiere. And so he and his family and friends at the premiere of his own movie are banished for a time to the basement. And you can actually go online. You've seen them probably, Alex, and you can see pictures of him and his family kind of like snarkily posing here in the basement where they'd been banished for. And so this caught fan attention because fans noticed months ago during the promotion of this film that Baldoni is not at the premiere with Blake Lively, that Baldoni and Lively are not doing any interviews together, which is very strange, any press together. There seems to be this separation. It also appeared that multiple cast members had unfollowed Baldoni. And so what happens is this kind of rumor mill starts. And at the same time, that dovetails with the release of a video by a Norwegian journalist named Kirsti Flaw. I'm sorry if I'm messing up her name, but Kirsti Flaw. And you may have seen this. It's the infamous baby bump interview where Blake Lively, who's very pregnant, seems to take, and this was an interview from a long time ago, seems to take offense at a compliment. Oh, congrats on your little bump. Congrats on being pregnant, right? Which is what people say to pregnant women because we don't know what the fuck to say, honestly. All right. So you say things like that sometimes. It shows enthusiasm. Like, yes, I see you're carrying a life inside you. Congrats.
Yeah.
So Blake Lively takes offense at that, acts really weird and snotty in the interview, takes offense at some other things. That gets posted. And you also have at the same time other videos getting posted by social media content creators about Blake Lively basically being bitchy. Now, I'm not condoning this. I was not interested in this topic at this time. People were messaging me saying, you got to jump in on this. And I'm like, no, I don't care if she's kind of bitchy in interviews, whatever. What really, though, made this whole thing explode. And by the way, let me just say the movie did, in the meantime, amazingly at the theaters and internationally and on Netflix, and it's making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So anyway, that happens. On Christmas, or Blake Lively, first of all, there's two things that happen on or around Christmas. You have a story in the New York Times entitled "We Can Smear Anyone," that basically purports to or argues that Justin Baldoni and his PR peeps waged this awful, underhanded, sneaky, Colonel Kurtz-like, in the jungle PR campaign, stealth PR campaign against Blake Lively. And they basically planted all of these negative stories and aided in the planting or production or airing of these interviews that made her look bad, et cetera, et cetera. And so the New York Times comes out with that and has leaked texts that are taken out of context or even altered. That's a whole other topic, but they come out with that story. And at the same time, Blake Lively, she files a complaint, an official complaint with the California Civil Rights Division, not a lawsuit, but a complaint alleging that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer engaged in various forms of harassment, sexual and otherwise, and created a toxic workplace, et cetera, et cetera. So in one day, basically, Justin Baldoni is canceled, his career reputation done, and Wayfarer, an entire studios headed up again by Steve Sarowitz's billionaire, funded at least started by him, done. And I guess Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thought that people were just going to take this lying down and just continue to be passive, and they could scapegoat Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer for the bad PR that she had been getting, and perhaps maybe trigger a morality clause, get book rights, as people like Ari Jacob have argued, and Candace Owens has been talking about recently as well. Whatever the motives, this canceled Baldoni, it canceled the studio, so to speak, destroyed them, and they decided they were not going to take this line down, and so they filed $650 million worth of lawsuits against the New York Times and against Blake Lively and Reynolds, and that's where we are right now.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is a ton of money. I want to ask when she comes back on, like that smear campaign thing, where we've seen that before. That's something that seems to happen a lot in that deranged world.
I think that's better.
Yeah. So let's go back to that New York Times article with the "we can smear anyone" thing. Where have we seen that kind of like? Haven't you seen that before? Is that like a Johnny Depp story? Where wasn't Amber Heard? Were they talking about smear campaigns happening?
Right. Well, this is basically a rehashing to a lot of us. It seems like a rehashing of the same playbook that's being used. And you even have the same characters at times online arguing for Blake Lively's side, just like people were arguing for Amber Heard's. And so, yeah, Amber Heard's side claimed that the sentiment for Johnny, the pro Johnny sentiment out there was not organic, and that it was basically part of a PR, crisis PR smear campaign aided by Mohammed bin Salman, even, and the Saudi Arabian government.
How? Why? Do we know why?
They were buds, supposedly. They were buddies.
And what were they doing? Like purchasing bot farms?
Yeah, exactly. So this was the allegation made by the mainstream media. It was that they had become friends. Maybe it's some kind of, I don't know, race car junket or something, or hotel opening. I can't even remember. But supposedly Johnny Depp had become fast friends with Mohammed bin Salman. And then he had shared with MBS, I've got this problem here. This crazy lady I got Me Too canceled, et cetera, et cetera.
So wait, a prince is buying bot farms. This is what I'm talking about with the narrative engineers.
I didn't even know all that.
Even though it's this Hollywood BS,
yeah,
this happens for everything.